It's their landing space of their body, not their soul. So there's peace in that.
Neighbors at
No,
Gerlach.
no. This is not just that, honey. This is first of all, this is a thief. This is a menace to society. But also this guy, I mean, this is a potential like health hazard as well to the community to be digging up. There's a reason why we put the bodies in a specific place and we don't just allow any person to handle and deal with dead bodies. Like there's a whole system that we have here. You can't just go and dig a whole bunch of things up. So yeah, I get it. Like, oh, it's the resting place of their body and not their soul. And da, da, da. Yeah, but there's some practical applications here too, lady. All right, so we're gonna react to this crazy story that I saw a few days ago. This video's been sitting in my queue for a few days because I'm like, I don't even know if I have the headspace to look at this, but I guess I do now. So let's take a look.
We have new details in that gruesome case where a man was arrested and charged with burglarizing graves and storing remains in his home and storage unit. Chris O'Connell, you've been following this story since it broke. What are police saying? Oh, Jason, police think that Jonathan Gerlach was selling at least some of those human remains online. Investigators say he had collected a trove of human skulls, skeletons, and bones, including full corpses hanging from his basement ceiling.
I never thought I would see this in my life.
That's
It was
crazy.
it was an experience that you really don't want to relive.
The Yeadon police chief says he's seen a lot in his career, but nothing like what he saw when he walked into
Oh
the
my
home
God.
of accused grave.
Okay. All right. um. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, he did it. Listen, you didn't need a news story to tell me that this guy had bodies hanging from his ceiling in his house. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to be judgmental, but okay, this is, bro, what are you on? I need to know more about you. This is wild.
Robber Jonathan Gerlach. He was one of the first inside of Gerlach's Ephrata home when they discovered more than 100 human remains of people who have died decades, even
lives in the
centuries
suburbs.
ago. Investigators and medical examiners were back at the property today. They say 8 more
has
bodies
neighbors.
were found at a nearby storage locker.
They were basically on display. There was some stuff in boxes, but most of the stuff was on display.
According to newly released
How do you bring home 100 bodies or like human remains and have them stored in your house and none of your neighbors saw any of that going on? Listen, I live in the Caribbean, okay? So neighbors mean something very different out here. Neighbors are basic. I mean, you don't need a neighborhood watch because the neighbors are already watching. So you need a neighborhood anti-watch, okay? You need to stop the neighbors from watching. You need to find a way to stop them from watching down here. So I just find it amazing that this guy could have whole bodies, and I mean, doesn't it smell? Like, I want to know, like, I need to know more. I want to know what state of decomposition are these bodies in? Because if it's just skeletons, then I guess, but
affidavits, police say Gerlach used crowbars and screwdrivers to break into dozens of mausoleums and underground burial vaults on both the Yeadon and Philadelphia sides of the historic Mount Moriah Cemetery. You can actually see where some of the stones were moved and vaults burglarized. 2 corpses stolen from this grave, 7 sets of remains stolen from this family plot. All of the remains were from those who died many years ago, but some as young as infants. Descendants of family members buried here are sickened.
It's
That's-
yucky. I mean, anybody finding out, we think
It's
that,
yucky.
we're going to
Really,
rest in
Kristen?
peace and be okay there. And I mean, it's their landing space of their body, not their soul. So there's peace in that.
Neighbors at
No,
Gerlach's
no. This is not just that, honey. This is first of all, this is a thief. This is a menace to society. But also this guy, I mean, this is a potential like health hazard as well to the community to be digging up. There's a reason why we put the bodies in a specific place and we don't just allow any person to handle and deal with dead bodies. Like there's a whole system that we have here. You can't just go and dig a whole bunch of things up. So yeah, I get it. Like, oh, it's the resting place of their body and not their soul. And da, da, da. Yeah, but there's some practical applications here too, lady.
Ephrata homes started to get suspicious when they started noticing flies around the window.
It was more than 5. It was at least 20, 30 on each window. I figured it was a garage that they were getting in through somewhere and they couldn't get out. And now finding out that there was all those remains in there, it makes sense.
Investigators are trying to figure out if other cemeteries were hit. In December, a tip came into police about a grave robber in Luzerne County. A tipster told police they recently discovered a partially decomposed corpse hanging from Gerlach's basement. They also say he disappeared for a few days and mentioned that he had been in Chicago selling a human skull.
To who?
Police are looking into a Facebook page devoted to selling human remains. Investigators wonder how long it's been going on or what else they may find.
What could this evolve to next? You know, you're collecting human remains. What's the next step in the evolution of this? And that's something that, hopefully we will find out why.
What's the next step? I still don't understand the first step. I still don't understand the first. Is this some type of a, okay, so probably this is like a devil worshipping type of thing? Because I know like people used to sell, like they used to rob graves way back in like, the olden days, like I guess, I don't know, like the 1600s and 1700s and stuff, where like it wasn't like medicine, like in order to get a cadaver was really difficult. So people used to steal fresh bodies from graves and they would sell them to like medical schools and to doctors and stuff like that. So there's a lot of that going on back then. But then of course, since like I said, we have systems now in place and we have laws and rules and stuff. So I don't think he's selling these things to, I mean, so he's, it sounds like these are in various stages of decomp, right? Because it seems like most of them were like mainly, it looks like most of them were mainly many years ago. So I'm assuming like decomposed enough that it's not like rotting flesh that you're dragging around, probably mostly bones or like shriveled skin or something like that. But then they said there's some partially decomposed ones too. So like, what's the purpose of this? Is this some type of ritualistic thing that's going on? And what else is this guy up to? What else has he been doing? Y'all need to check that guy properly. Y'all need to really look into him because who knows if this is the extent of what he's been doing. Has he actually killed people before? Because, jeez, yeah, that's wild.
Now, Gerlach remains in the Delaware County jail on $1 million cash bail. Investigators are now trying to connect loved ones with their family members' remains, but since all of them died many, many years ago, Dawn, they understand it is going to be a challenge.
No doubt, Chris, and so disturbing. Thank you, Chris.
I want to know, like, there's another thing here. Let me see what this guy's saying.
I'm the District Attorney of Delaware County, and we are here today.
Oh, everything. I play everything.
It's like Amazon for hard drug.
Because of the arrest of 34-year-old Jonathan Gerlach of Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Over the course of the last several weeks, detectives from Yeadon Borough as well as Delaware County CID became aware that from November of 2025 up until 2 days ago, January of 2026, Mount Moriah Cemetery had been burglarized by, at that point, an unknown individual. 26 separate mausoleums.
If it's burglarized, who is it burglarized from? Does it belong to the state? I wonder. Who is the victim?
Mausoleums and or underground burial sites had been torn into and, for lack of a better word, desecrated. Investigation took place. Yeadon deserves a hell of a lot of credit on this for doing good old-fashioned police work, going through LPRs, tracking physical evidence, piecing together a suspect, cooperating with CID. We developed that suspect, we laid in wait, and we eventually watched and caught Mr. Gerlach as he desecrated yet another monument as recently as 2 days ago. He was taken into custody. Search warrants were executed at his home in Ephrata, where over 100 human skeletons were recovered. And that's in part, at this point, we are still trying to figure out how many of those are complete and what exactly we are looking at. A separate storage locker was found to be in Mr. Gerlach's possession. That also was in Ephrata. We found there 8 more human remains. Very simply, detectives have recovered an awful lot of bones at this point, and we are still trying to piece together who they are, where they are from, and how many we are looking at, and it's going to be quite some time before we have a final.
What is the sentence going to be like for this? Because is he going to be sentenced for each body, and what is the crime? Is it larceny? Is it? I know that there are offenses that are specifically related to offenses related to dead bodies, like can you steal? Offenses related to desecration, mutilation, sexual abuse, improper handling. See, I told y'all there's a system or interference falling under various criminal statutes like abuse of corpse. He might get some abuse of corpse, indecent interference with human remains, or specific sexual offenses. Severe penalty of imprisonment for actions that outrage public decency. Well, yeah, I think the public is pretty outraged. Or violate the dignity of the deceased. Yeah, you take my body and then you sell me? Bro! With laws varying slightly, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen to this guy.
Answer. He is now arrested. Bail has been set at $1 million cash by Judge Williams. He is in on 26 counts of burglary, criminal trespass, and a host of other offenses. Kelly Wilson, who's handling our media affairs, is going to pass out a complaint so that you guys have the complete list of charges at your disposal. Very simply, detectives walked into a horror movie come to life the other night, guys. This is an unbelievable scene that no one involved, from myself to the detectives to the medical examiners that are now trying to piece together what they are looking at, quite literally. None of them have ever seen anything like this before. When I was 16 years old, a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, and I personally have visited his gravesite, as many people do when they lose a loved one. I know his parents have also visited that site. I cannot imagine what it would put them through to know that someone like this guy had dug up those remains and was doing God knows what with them.
Oh, man.
It is truly, in the most literal sense of the word, horrific.
It's like re-traumatizing too, because now the families have to go and relive all of that, because if you now have to sort of be notified of this or something, I mean, no, that's like so it's like this person is literally not able to rest in peace. There is a part of death where you do get to kind of this point of like, okay, at least now they are resting in peace. There's something that is something that we do tell ourselves. Last year I saw 3 bodies going to ground of people I knew and loved, and I'm telling you that like that's a real part of the process. Both young and old. At some point you get to this point of like, okay, at least they are at rest. They are they don't have to worry about, being troubled by the world in any way at all, right? And it's a small solace, but it's there. for now this to be added to your story after you've died, right? So your story hasn't ended in you being lowered into the grave and buried, right? No, 20 years later somebody comes and digs you up and sells you and does things and has you hanging in their basement. Some goth guy for some, that's what I know. They have to go rebury you. Woo! I know the question is how many more guys are like this, because I doubt this is the only guy in town selling bodies, right? Like, where did he learn that from? Who told him this was a thing that could be done? Right? How many other people? I mean, this guy has a Facebook page? What? Oh my God.
I grieve for those who are upset by this, who are going through it, who are trying to figure out if it is in fact their loved one or their child, because we found remains that we believe to be months-old infants among those that he had collected. So our hearts go out to every family that is impacted by this. Some of these are hundreds of years old. We are trying to figure out exactly what we are looking at. We quite simply at this juncture are not able to date and identify all of them. I want to make some thank yous here because this was truly a collaborative effort. As you guys can imagine, this spanned from here to Lancaster County.
Maybe they could use LiDAR and scan the graveyard and see if there are any empty. I mean, obviously, like I said, they already found some graves that have obviously been disturbed. So that's probably where they'll have to start. Just visually what they can see looks like it's been disturbed. But then also probably they might have to get some kind of LiDAR in to scan the entire graveyard and see what's empty. Because, Jesus.
The police department was instrumental in gaining access to and executing that search warrant. The Philadelphia Police Department was cooperative. This is the Mount Moriah Cemetery, and that spans Yeadon Borough into Philadelphia. We had to have their cooperation throughout this, guys. They were. Those cases are now going to be handled.
And then this is multi-directional, right? Because yes, there is the act of like identifying all the bodies, right? Like that's interesting. I would like to be on that team. I'd like to be a part of this team, to be honest with you, this investigative team, because just figuring out how we're going to identify the bodies, like what would be the process that we would use to do this, and how many of them can we identify in what space of time. And you're not going to do this into like perpetuity, so at some point you do have to stop. And then it's like, what do you do with the bodies that you haven't identified, right? And then, so that's one direction that this investigation is going into. Then the other thing is who is this guy selling these things to, or what has he been doing with these bodies? Like, what's the whole vibe? What is the industry? What is the business? What is going on? What is this trade for? Is this I mean, I imagine it must be at least in part for ritualistic satanic things and whatever, but I wonder if there's like also like an underground trade of, I don't know, I mean, why would anybody in the medical field need to trade in bodies still, right? You could just go to an anatomy lab and maybe if you couldn't afford to or something, I don't know. But damn, I mean, hundreds of bodies, bro. How long has he been doing this? How many bodies has he already sold?
In Delaware County, we've reached out to law enforcement agencies there, and jurisdiction has been transferred to Delaware County. Pennsylvania Attorney General's office lent support throughout this process. Pennsylvania State Police, the Delaware and Lancaster County Medical Examiner's Office, who are now in possession of these remains. We thank them for their cooperation. This was obviously an overnight job. There's a lot that needs to be done to collect and humanely preserve these remains. We are working diligently to make sure that happens. The Lancaster County District Attorney's Office, the Middle Creek Search and Rescue Canine Unit, which helped us get in there initially, and the Friends of Mount Moriah Cemetery. It should be noted, this happened at Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah did everything they could to cooperate with law enforcement and keep this from happening again. This happened, as you guys will see in the complaint, under the cloak of darkness, very much secreted from public view. This guy did everything in his power to secretly and silently grave rob. Mount Moriah did everything they could to stop him from doing it, but as you can imagine, a cemetery that size, it is very difficult. We thank them for their cooperation throughout this process. I'm going to turn it over now to Mayor Rohan Hepkins of Yeadon before we take questions.
Thank you very much, Tanner, District Attorney Tanner Rouse. Just want to say this was quite a heinous act, very depraved. I've never heard anything like this. It defies logic or comprehension. And as the District Attorney just stated, it's something literally out of a horror movie. When you have your loved ones interred, you respect their remains, you respect them into perpetuity, and to have this type of heinous act happen is beyond dignity or anything that we can comprehend or imagine. So this started when the Friends of Mount Moriah reached out to me, and I got wind of it that Mount Moriah is, half of Mount Moriah is on borders Philadelphia, southwest Philadelphia, and half of Mount Moriah is located in Yeadon, separated by Cobbs Creek. And I notified our chief, Henry Gianmarco, who deserves a lot of thanks and praise for this, and he sprung into action and had patrols at night, detectives, and we caught him. We were on to, got some leads and involved, reached out to the district attorney, CID, and we caught him, I believe, 2 days ago. So I also want to give a shout out to the Yeadon Police Department for breaking the case, the Philadelphia Police Department, and of course our district attorney's office of Delaware County. And we want to send the word out that you cannot come into Yeadon in Delaware County and commit crimes. Okay,
I hate when these guys say this stuff. I mean, I get where it's coming from. Like, you're trying to sort of reassure the public, and you're trying to, show a sense of authority and that kind of thing. And frankly, I mean, of course, that's really what you should do. But come on, right? When you say you cannot come in to whatever county and whatever and commit these crimes, obviously you can, because he did 100 and odd times, as far as you know. So you can for a while, right? You can. I mean, this guy did it. He didn't. You didn't find 3 bodies or 5 bodies, right? How many is he carrying at a time? Is he digging up 2 and 3? Is he packing a satchel full of bodies each time? Probably it's one at a time. So this guy got away with doing this for a long time, right? So what are you saying? Obviously, he can do what he could do because he did it.
Onto you, we're going to find you, and you're not going to be able to get away with something like this.
You hope you'll find him.
So it could have been a lot worse.
You guys found this guy, okay? What if he's part? I mean, did he dig them up by himself? That's a question I have. Who helps you who helps you move a body? Are you lifting that body by yourself? Maybe, I don't know, but the whole time? No help? Who's he selling to? Who is this? How is this such a profitable thing for this guy to do? The effort that it would take for you to go and pry open a grave or a mausoleum or something like that and retrieve a stinking dead body, right? This body is not, because you guys said that the neighbors were smelling something weird, right? And there were flies and stuff on the window. So obviously there's a stench. So this guy is motivated by something, right? There's something that's really driving his behavior. Maybe it's really lucrative. He has a lot of customers. Maybe there's other people helping him to do this. So what are you saying about, you can't come in here and do that? Well, I did, and maybe there's more people doing it as well. What you hope that you're going to be able to to stop this from happening in the future. You hope that you'll be able to catch anybody who might have any such intentions and that kind of thing. But it's definitely not true that you can't do it, because he did.
If we didn't spring into action as quickly as we did, and for the families involved, they're grave sites that are over 200 years old. Mount Moriah is very historical because I
wonder if more money, if an older body costs more. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is, right? On what the user, what the end user is doing with his body, right? So if I don't know, I mean, I don't know what these people are doing, because maybe a fresh one is worth more. That could also be true. A fresh one could be worth way more, depending on what they're doing with this thing. If there's something that I don't know what. This is crazy. But you know what's interesting? I remember watching a documentary about body snatching, ritual, the use of like remains, human remains, all animal remains in, I think it was, I mean, I don't remember which African country it was, but it was a YouTuber actually, and he was visiting this market where they sell, you know, dried out animals, right? Cats and owls and pigs and little things, and different animals would be used for different rituals and sacrifices and stuff like that. And the even darker, more underground version of it sells human remains, human bodies, right? And it's so interesting to think, well, okay, this is what's happening in the third world, in some you know, dirt floor market in wherever, right? Rural Africa, wherever. But this is the same thing is happening in a normal, regular town in Delaware, USA, as well. So people are freaks all over.
The war from the Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War II, and beyond have soldiers buried in that cemetery. As a matter of fact, Betsy Ross was first interred at Mount Moriah, I believe, on the Yeadon side, before her body was exhumed and
somebody
brought back
putting
to
in an order
Philadelphia
for a specific human being.
So it's very historic.
Yo, get me a Betsy Ross.
I'm sorry that something like this happened, but thank God that we got to the bottom of it, and hopefully, and also one of the things I realized why it was an inviting target is that Mount Moriah is so open. It's hard to, it's not fenced in. There's easy access in like a million places, so it was easy to access that type of graveyard because it's just so open. But because of that, it should be pristine and kept and honored and treasured. But we have individuals today in today's world that don't respect any type of those boundaries or dignity. But I just want to thank everybody else involved at this time, including my police chief, Henry Gianmarco. I wonder if he has any words he'd like to share at this time.
Good afternoon, all. I just want to again echo what.
What's fascinating is that this has always been done, right? This is, like I was saying, at one point, this was a of high demand in early medical sciences, medical studies. But even further than that, I mean, look at how the Egyptians used to have to guard their kings and stuff like that when they were buried, because people would rob the graves. They would rob, you know, well, they used to go to the grave with treasures and stuff, so of course you're gonna rob some of that stuff. But yeah, people were robbing and trading bodies and stuff. They would steal the bodies of saint whoever. I said, oh, this is the finger of some saint. This is the old rotten finger of some blessed saint, and this is gonna bless you. This is the human beings have always just been fascinated and absorbed with death, and that fascination bears itself out in a spectrum, right? So it could be the way that we ceremonialize a burial and do the whole singing and wear the black and all that kind of stuff. And go as far as some fucking Addams Family type shit.
District Attorney Ralph said, and also what Mayor Hepkin said, it's important to understand the collaboration of us working together with the District Attorney's Office. They've been supportive to us, and they constantly support us. And special thanks to Detective Leah Sesnick from the Yeadon Police Department, and also Detective Carr from CID. They did a hell of a job. And again, we're out there, and having the support of Tanner and other local law enforcement agencies, it just shows when we break down silos, we can work together. Thank you.
If I didn't do enough thanking, I want to do one more time. Detective Sesnick, who I know is around the corner, Detective Carr, this was really excellent work. It really was. This is good old-fashioned police work to make sure we got this guy, so I'm very appreciative of their efforts, so I'll thank them again. And we'll take questions. If you can just do me a favor, identify yourself and where you're from, just so I can get to know you guys a little bit. I would appreciate it very much. Yeah.
Hi, Dana Taranti, NBC 10.
Hi, dude. How are you? Good.
So it's possible here that your detectives, your agencies, didn't just crack a case that was happening in Yeadon, because this does appear to be a statewide situation.
It almost certainly did not only happen in Yeadon. Whether or not it's statewide and exactly what that means, Zena, we don't know at this point, but you're absolutely right. It is almost certain that this is not exclusive to Yeadon.
Are you talking with investigators, say, in Plains Township, Luzerne County?
We are, yes, that outreach is beginning now. Truthfully, we were a little bit handcuffed because we didn't know what we were going to find in that house. Now that we are aware of the extent of what's going on, that's beginning more fully.
John Paul with 6 ABC. Can you tell us a little bit more about when you found these skeletons in the house? Where were they? What condition were they in? What was he doing with them?
So, John, a lot remains to be determined at this point. They were in the basement predominantly, although, as you can imagine, with 100 remains, it was not as though they were in an isolated area. We don't know exactly what he was doing with them. Time will tell. They were in various states. Understand, some of these are 200 years old. Some of them obviously much newer. There's one that had a pacemaker still attached to the body. So clearly that's not 200 years old.
Wow.
We are trying to figure out exactly what went on in that home. It is still unclear, and given the enormity of what we are looking at and the sheer kind of utter lack of reasonable explanation, it's difficult to say right now at this juncture exactly what took place. We're trying to figure it out.
I mean, resource-wise, this must be a nightmare because, first of all, the state now has to house all of these bodies, and from what I know, having recently just buried a couple of grandmothers and think, I mean, it does cost money to. It's like rent, right? It costs money to house a human body anywhere in any state of, right, whether it's in death or alive. So 100 of these people have to be housed and stored properly, right, according to their state of decomposition. But then also, my question is, what are you prioritizing? Are you prioritizing identifying the bodies and notifying the families, or are you prioritizing finding out what the fuck this guy was doing with these bodies? I vote for number 2. I'm sorry, the family, if you said most of these guys have been dead and stuff and they're already dead, we're going to have to just let the dead bury the dead, okay? I'm not saying we're going to forget about you, but maybe we would assign like a secondary team to find out what's happening. To me, the most important thing is, what is this guy doing? What is his trade? Who is he selling these things to? Go through his phone, go through his laptop, go through his everything. Check that Facebook page, see everybody who's involved in it, what's going on, and because this could be happening everywhere. There could be an entire network of this. So, bro, let me see what this guy's name is. Name is Jonathan Gerlach. Let me see. Let me look for his Facebook page. Jonathan Gerlach. Facebook page. There's no way that that's the name of the group. There's no way. Skull and Bones Exchange. Skull and Bones Trading. Human skulls and bones and wet specimens for sale. Woo! Oh, there's his page. Jesus, Human Bones and Skull Selling Group. Okay, so interesting. So it looks like there's people doing this is like some sort of an ornamental. Well, it looks ornamental, but I don't know how deep it goes. Look at that. Okay, this looks very ritual. Voodoo altar. Yeah. Probably that kind of stuff. What are these rings? What are these rings? What parts of a human is that from? Okay, so they got different animals and stuff. So it's just people who are into just morbid shit. Okay, so this is some type of tusk. Glass teeth from Vanuatu. Okay, so there's some sort of a trade going on here, obviously. I mean, I wonder how illegal this is. I wonder what the legality of something like this is. Because Skull and Bones Trading. Oh, so these are like, this is a video game. Wet specimens. Jesus. Going on dates, look for bones. Any tips for specific places to look? I always do well about 6 feet down in graveyards. Recommend going at night. Less competition. Okay. Wow, I have interest in Okay, so these are people who are interested in this type of thing. I mean, listen, I think at least up until the Victorian era, people used to keep skulls on their desk, and it was a philosophical sort of a meditation. It was to remind you that you're gonna die, memento mori or something like that, or memento morti or whatever. That was the whole idea of it. So you'd be writing at your desk something, writing a book, some noble lord of whatever, and he's reviewing the papers for the estate, and he's and the whole idea is that he so that he doesn't lose himself too much in the activity, he will at some point lean back and then look up and see the skull sitting on his desk and go, oh yeah, I'm going to die one day. I should go take a walk. I should go play with the children. I should go pet the dog. I guess that's the whole idea. Or it's to maybe remind you not to be lazy and to say, hey, you're gonna die one day, so finish the manuscript or whatever it is. So that was a thing. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Were hanging, as it were. Some of them were pieced together. Some were just skulls on a shelf. We don't know exactly what we've got, what condition they are in. We're still figuring out, does this go with that, etc. So
does this go with that?
There was no signature thing that was taking place with each of these skeletons. It was a collection. He was doing various things with all of them. At this juncture, that appears as much organizational as anything else. It's not clear there was an MO.
Okay, and one last thing. Was anybody else in that house? Was it just him at the house, or were there other people there who knew what was going on in his collection?
Mr. Gerlach had a girlfriend, it turns out, who was at least around the home.
So she could have been where you...
who was at least around the home.
At least around the home.
So she could have been where you talked to her?
We at this point, where Mr. Gerlach is the one that is charged. I'm not going to say anything further in the investigation of that. Madeline, yeah.
Y'all need to look into that bitch.
Madeline Wright, CBS.
Y'all need to check her.
A few questions.
That's what I said. He didn't. he wasn't doing this alone. What do you mean he's the only person? What? Y'all need to check that girl. What are you talking about? Y'all need to go back and check that girl. Make sure that y'all have eyes on her, please. That's going to be the thread that you can use to unravel this thing, because we need to know who else was involved in this.
Was Mr. Gerlach stealing jewelry as well, or the remains, and was he selling any of this?
So we have now recovered jewelry. It's unclear, again, what that is connected to. We believe at least some of that was recovered with the remains. Whether that was his primary motive or not, we can't speak to at this point. We are working to figure out whether or not anything was sold. There are indications, but at this point, that's a little bit unclear.
There had been reports earlier this year, I believe, of other like mausoleum doors missing, things like that, at various cemeteries in the area. Does it look like this is connected to that, or is that something else entirely?
It's preliminary, Alex. At this point, we don't have any indication they're necessarily connected. Certainly, we're going to run it down.
Do we know what equipment Mr. Gerlach was using to break into the graves?
There was, when he was arrested, he was recovered with a crowbar and some other pretty rudimentary items. It is not as though this was, there's no forklifts involved in this at this juncture that we can identify. It seems everything was handheld.
And how did the police become aware of this?
It wasn't just him.
I don't want to get too deep into the investigation, Madeline, but actually just kind of good old-fashioned police work. They identified a suspect, identified his car, realized he started hitting on license plate readers around the time these break-ins occurred, and went from there. So it, again, started on a hunch and someone following some intuition where they very easily could have dismissed it. Instead, they went the extra mile, did some legwork, and found out that, in fact, their hunch had been corroborated by a number of factors. Obviously, it went from there, but that was the initial lead.
Is there any digging
You want to make
involved, or
sure
did
you
he
have
just break
probable
into
cause.
mausoleums?
There was some. I don't want to comment and get out ahead. Some of it was underground, some of it was above ground. So there was some breaking in, and I don't know exactly, John, as I stand here, whether or not he had to physically dig or go in, but there was definitely some underground and some above ground.
Can you describe the actual arrest at all? Do you know the particulars of how that went down?
Alex, as I stand here today, Detective Carr be in a better position to answer that. It was relatively uneventful. It wasn't as though there was a struggle or anything of that nature.
Do you think more arrests could be coming in this case?
Better.
At this point, I don't foresee anything, Madeline. I don't have any reason to believe. Certainly more charges are possible. I don't know there's going to be any more arrests. Is it possible? With something of this scope, certainly. It defies any logic, so I don't want to rule anything out. At the same time, we don't have any reason to believe he was working with anyone as he was doing this at this time.
I mean, it's interesting. I get, because again, obviously there's a trade involved, because I already found 2 Facebook pages where these people are not hiding it. They're like, yeah, hey, look, there's a human thing here, and obviously, I mean, is it illegal to have a human skull? I don't know. Or bones? I don't know. Let me see. It's not federally illegal to possess a human skull or bones, provided they were legally obtained. However, the legality varies significantly depending on how the remains were acquired. The specific state laws. How do you legally? How to legally possess a human skull or bone? Oh my god, my search history is not looking good, guys. This is for a YouTube video. Oh. It's just legal to possess human skulls or bones provided they were ethically and legally obtained. Legal means from legitimate dealers. Many human bones available for private ownership come from antique medical specimens, example from India and China before their respective export bans. I see. Reputable dealers such as Skulls Unlimited or the Bone Room verify the provenance of their specimens to ensure they were not acquired illegally. Okay, I see. Anatomical donation programs. Most to science after specific authorization from the donor or next of kin might, in highly unusual cases, allow for the release of specific bones, like a skull. Interesting. Native American remains, it's illegal to possess those. Protected anything. Stolen or illegally exhumed remains, like this guy, grave robbing, right? Mr. Gerlach or whatever. state-specific laws, while no federal law broadly bans possession. A few states, that's tricky. Yeah, okay. A few states have specific prohibitions or restrictions on the sale, import, or export of human remains across state lines. Yeah, bro. So it's true. I get why this guy is a little bit uncomfortable here, because it's like, yeah, what exactly? I mean, if you can catch him on the grave robbing for sure, then definitely I guess, right? But that's weird. It's not inherently illegal just to possess a human skull or bone or something like that, depending on where you get it from, and then the work of determining that and proving your acquisition of it is legal. Woo! That's wild. Stick to taxidermy, people, not of humans, of, I don't know, cats or something.
Real quick, can the Yeadon chief? You've been in the business a long time. You ever seen anything along these lines ever?
No. After 30 years now, I can say this is probably the most horrific thing that I've seen. And again, to the families, as the district attorney pointed out, we all have loved ones that passed. Like, rest in peace is rest in peace. And this is definitely something that tears your heartstrings, especially when you see, as he pointed out, an infant having children and grandchildren. Yeah, it was definitely an event. And again, thanks to the support of the district attorney's office and the unwavering support of the mayor and the detectives and the officers we have in Yeadon, we're truly blessed to have a great team.
Understanding it's early days, but have you been able to identify any families of these remains and spoken to them at all yet?
There are the 26 specific instances, Alex, in which we are aware of where a grave was broken into. We have not been able to necessarily link those up, but we do know those are instances of specific break-ins. Beyond that, not at this point.
Was it the cemetery staff who noticed that there was some damage and then contacted the mayor, and then the mayor contacted police?
Yeah, the Friends of Mount Moriah, who have board members from both Philadelphia and Yeadon, noticed that some grave sites were desecrated and notified the Philadelphia Police Department, Yeadon Police Department through me. I'm actually on the board, and I notified our chief, and that really started the resolution of this to date.
And the 100 remains that were found, are they all from the cemetery in Yeadon, or they could be from other cemeteries?
No, we believe, Madeline, they are from other cemeteries as well. We can't say for absolute certain at this point, but it seems almost certain that they are beyond Mount Moriah.
Any other reports of other cemeteries?
Of course, there are other reports out there. We have not been able to corroborate, does this match up with what we're finding? And frankly, again, like I said, I don't know that we ever will. There are other reports. We're looking into it.
How common is this?
Not very.
As far as you know. Bro, as far as you know. What do you mean, not very? As far as you know. Y'all only just found out. Like, if somebody came and told y'all. This is, I mean, if there are groups dedicated to this, right? And it's not like the acquisition of it has to be legal, right? So obviously you should not go and kill somebody to do this, and you shouldn't go and steal a body from a morgue or something like that. So where else are you gonna get them from, right? This guy is incentivized to go and rob these graves because clearly there's some type of an industry. There's something, unless they're all for him, which is even freakier. So we're wondering, like, what's that about, right? So is it, well, you have to ask this guy, are these for you or are these for other people? Are these meant for sale, or is this just you and your girlfriend like to be freaky and do freaky rituals in the basements or something like that? What is going on? So we don't really know what's going on. Boy, oh boy. This is This is an episode of Law and Order.
Now, I, as the chief alluded to, I can think of other instances in which we've heard of someone literally grave robbing, right? Going down there and stealing jewelry or stealing something of that nature. We've all heard of desecration of corpse cases where someone's doing something to a dead body. I've never heard of any situation, I've been, this is 16, almost 17 years, where someone's stealing and collecting the bones like this. This is different.
A lot of these incidents, well, at least, the cell phone pinging was on Halloween. Do you have any reason to believe there's some sort of connection there? Was he using them as like Halloween decoration?
There was no evidence, John, of, as I said,
Halloween
anything
decorations.
concerning.
Are you fucking serious, bro? What? You need 100 bodies in your graveyard for Halloween? Halloween decorations. Bro, that would even, I mean, was he using them for Halloween decorations? No, because you can't just you can't just order a realistic looking skeleton from Amazon, right? You can't just order a Hollywood skeleton from Amazon. No, you have to go and dig one up, right, bro?
There just isn't anything going on in that basement that leads you to believe, okay, I don't rationalize it, I don't get it, but I see what is happening here. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason.
Is he part of a satanic cult of some sort, or,
Not to anyone's knowledge at this point. And certainly he hasn't given any indication of such.
There's a Facebook page of somebody with the same name, Jonathan Gerlach, and there's a picture of him holding a skull.
Yes, there is.
And part of a group that says Human Bones and Skull Selling Group. Is that part of the investigation?
It is.
And that Facebook page belongs to the suspect?
Where it's part of the investigation, we are working to confirm all that, Madeline, and what that might have led to, the veracity of any of that. It doesn't strike me as a coincidence, but we need to figure out if
check all of those
actually happening with that, or if this guy was just taking skeletons and talking a big game on Facebook.
You talking to local medical schools to see if they maybe bought any of these bones in the past few years?
I don't know, Alex, the outreach that's happened just yet.
If someone was buying bones from that person, is that illegal?
I have to be honest with you, Madeline. I'd have to look into it. I don't know that it would be unless they had reason to know this was. The bone trafficking laws are new to me.
The bone trafficking laws are new to me.
Any other?
Yo.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Yo, this guy said I'm new to the bone trafficking gig. I'm new here. Lady, what are you asking me? Are you asking me about bone trafficking? Do I have a friggin', does it say bone trafficking PhD on my goddamn resume? What the hell are you asking me about bone trafficking for, lady? Yo. This guy is cool. I like him. He's funny. I like how flabbergasted he is, and also his honesty. He's a funky guy. But jeez, man, woo, America. But it's not just America. I mean, this is from America. This is probably happening on every continent. Stuff like this. When this guy said, "Oh no, it's not common," I'm like, "How do you know? How do you know it's not common? You just said that you're new to the bone chasing game, bro. Okay, to the bone selling game. Okay, you're a recent bone chaser. You don't know nothing about bones. Okay, y'all need to go ask Gerlach about bones. He know about bones. This guy don't know about bones. Okay." This guy could tell you whether or not this is a recent or common thing. Y'all asking the wrong person about this. Y'all need to go ask Gerlach and go ask his friends on his Facebook group what is going on. You understand? Because right. So I guess it's not technically illegal to have the bone, but to go and dig them up and steal them, I think that's illegal for sure. So that's probably what it is. Like. Because because the majority of ways that you would acquire a human, human remains would be illegal. There's only a narrow window of legal acquisition that you have available to you. Is if somebody donates a bone, or like they said, like in certain I think so, like certain parts of India and whatever it is, before the export laws and whatever stuff like that, right? Like it's very, very narrow, so they must be very expensive. Okay, so in order to make it more sort of meet that demand and bring down the price, homeboy Gerlach is no, I got you. I'm gonna go over here to Mount Vernon and I'm gonna go dig them up, and I'm gonna stack 100 of them down in my basement, and I'm just gonna listen. You could listen. This is the modern age. Why don't just you should just be able to order it online, right? Is what this guy is saying. So you should, maybe he has a website, and you just go on, and you like, it's so cool that you can just click the different. You have a body of a person outline or whatever, and you just click which bone you want, and it'll tell you, okay, we have such and such amount of stock, we have a certain age, do you want, like how old do you want the bone, and also how old do you want the person to be that died. You can go that deep, and then it sort of tallies up a price for you based on everything that you've ordered, and then boom, there you go. And you make your purchase, and then you have it delivered to you in 2 or 3 business days. Simple as that. Right? Nothing hard in that. This guy basically found a huge gap in the market, and he's like, yeah, okay, cool, y'all like bones? All right, cool, I'm gonna get you some bones. That's it. Unless it's for something way more sinister, which is, these are all for his private collection, and he's some kind of a sexual deviant, or some sort of a Satanist, or he looks like a fucking Satanist, right? He looks like a really dark kind of guy. So I don't know. I'm gonna follow up on this case because it's really fascinating, and I want to hear this guy speak, and I want to know what his character is like. I want to know more about this guy, because yeah.